with regards to this popular rom-com. It is a rom-com essentially, but not quite. Well, they do try to be romantic, but it's actually kind of its weakest point, really, as usual. I mean, rom-coms would really be better if they just focused on the comedy more than And this one is quite popular. Yeah, quite popular. Crazy stupid laugh. Yeah. Uh, and while it had some funny bits, overall it's not incredibly funny. And as usual, it very stereotypically chooses his clothes in a supposedly, romantic, yes, as people say, feel good fashion. But really, I just don't get it. I mean, if only they just focused on the comedy, it would have been better. And I mean, sure, it's kind of funny to say, oh, he has hair like a dog or something, and what else did they say at the end? I mean, there were still mostly, these efforts to somehow romanticize the whole thing, but it's really, how is it romantic? I mean, you know, um, she wants to leave him at the beginning, in the middle of the movie. She's still seen with him eating dinner, um, with Kevin Bacon, who was of course everywhere. Uh, I just don't get it. It's not a real romance. You barely see them together at all. I mean, I'm not here for the romance. And yet they do try to do this nonsense. Yeah, they try to just slot in the supposed romance, the supposed, oh, soulmates exist and you're it. I mean, really? Yeah, if that's not cheesy, I don't know what is. And this is the problem with most rom-coms, in fact. But the difference, of course, is that somehow this one was well received apparently by not only audience, not only by it seems most critics. At least it seems like only like a couple didn't. Um, but what just why? I don't get it. I mean, I did unfortunately watch many rom-coms, and because of course they do populate the comedy category a lot. It's not that I want to watch rom-coms, but there is a lot with comedy. So unless I try to go over one after another to filter out rom-coms, unfortunately there isn't a specifically rom-com category. They do flood out the comedy genre, and so I just said I gave up. I mean, so I do try to watch just normal comedies, but it's sort of a doomed endeavor really to because even I mean, all right, this does have a sort of obvious title possibly. I mean, it's less typically rom-com than most others actually, but uh, it's just anyway. Let's just say I gave up on that front. Yeah, and yeah, it's not as bad as most rom-coms. I mean, it's so funny, but it's also sad. I mean, literally, so there were loads of triangles, people liking others, but then they aren't liked in return, and I don't think there's a single compatible romantic relationship, which is why it's so absurd for anyone to say, "Oh yeah, you're my soulmate," and somehow she starts to cry. Like really, she first wanted to get away from him, and then she cries, and then the most ridiculous uh, reunion ever, and inverted commas is of course the one with the babysitter. I mean, like, so for all movie, she's rejected him, and suddenly she accepts him just in the last 5 minutes. Yeah, if that's not artificial, I don't know what is. So frankly, I have no idea why. I mean, it's such a minority of critics who criticize this. It's I have no idea. I mean, how just how this is so popular. That you know you know um a big Greek fat romantic wedding. That one is also very popular. It also um, made lots of profit as this did. Y- you can sort of see how it has a certain heart. It has a certain genuine warmth, though. I mean, I don't think that there were many points when that was just artificial. This was. I don't see, and not only was it, it's you know, it's just forced, So I mean, sure, ultimately, all movies are sort of forced. They're artificial then essentially because they're scripted. That's not the point, though. Of course, if you have bad acting, then obviously it looks more artificial. That's not the point either. So with regards to this, I'm not saying acting was but no, it's specifically how it's scripted. Then I guess just the fact that the babysitter suddenly accepts him, like what, you know, it's just what, and there wasn't too much comedy either. That's the problem. Comedy is usually what I go in for, and there wasn't really much. I mean, sure, when they suddenly meet the teacher, and she has this fright, this surprise because he's there with his wife. Yes, and then the conversation ensued. That's sort of the highlight, but there weren't many moments of that. That's sort of the highlight, I think. Otherwise, I mean, some people might think that the speech at the end is sort of comedic, but it's not. It's very scripted. It looks and sounds very forced. That's the problem. Um, so overall, I didn't think it had too much comedy. It had a bit, but not too much. The problem isn't that I'm saying that this is you know I mean it's mediocre is what I'm saying. Most rom-coms are mediocre. But this made nearly four times as much profit as the budget. So clearly, the audience liked it, and it was also not many go hand in hand. So not many movies exist where not only does the audience like it, but critics as well. I mean, I don't get it. I could sort of see, with the big fat Greek wedding, has a certain heart. Although the wedding itself is sort of boring as most weddings are. But there's still something, there's still a bit of comedy as well. Not too much either, but Um, so I mean, it's not so I don't consider it a comedic masterpiece or anything, or even a romantic masterpiece. But this is worse in my opinion. This is not a masterpiece at all. It's mediocre. I'm not saying it's the worst thing I've seen. It's the worst either. Romantic movie or comedic movie or rom-com specifically, but I don't see the difference much really. And for critics to be so praising of it, um, for for it to be so popular with audiences, I don't quite get it. And apparently, Emma Stone won two awards as well, one by People's Choice and one by Teen Choice. Um, I don't even, I didn't even notice Emma Stone. I mean, she barely played a big part at all. She didn't really. So I don't get this. And the way she was filmed as well, her characters, that was so confusing. Like, why was she with those group of people at the beginning? And then we get to find out, of course, that that person was supposed to be her boyfriend, and then she leaves the place because he said he needed time to think about it. So, in other words, the couple of scenes she was in for like half the movie, it was with people who didn't matter at all, and she was going to leave them soon. And she's given an award. I mean, for what? For just saying, "Oh no, I'm staying with him." Uh, she's supposed to be one of the highest paid actresses in the world as well. I don't know if she was for it, but of course this is the point. I mean, if it made four times as much as the budget, then yeah, sure enough, there's enough for everyone. I don't get it. But anyway, yeah, that's just my own opinions. Obviously, this is always my own opinion. So yeah, I don't get it. It's not one of my favorites rom-coms certainly. I don't think I have many favorites to be honest. Rom-coms aren't generally the best thing ever, but this isn't it at least. I don't think so. There are better on both the romantic and the comedic front generally. Also, Ryan Gosling is better in Fracture, in my opinion.